guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Tara. I hope you guys are well. And today I thought I would do a sit down chatty video because I haven't done one in ages, like a proper like subject or topic, I suppose. My last one was like my birth and labour story. So that was the last one I've done. That was more of like an emotional sort of, not emotional, but you know, something that me putting my life out there a little bit, and I haven't really done that on this channel, and I want to start doing it because I think talking to a camera sometimes you say things that you wouldn't normally say to other people about experiences and stuff like that. So today I thought I would do my breastfeeding story so far. It's a topic that I haven't really spoken to about on my channel. I have had a few emails of some subscribers about people that are expecting babies, and they've said, oh, how would you feed and how do you feed and what do you think's best and stuff like that. And I haven't broadcasted it on my channel just because it's not something I'm ashamed of. It's just something that I suppose I just felt like I wasn't ready to talk about. And it's having the time to sit down and do like a proper sit down video without Amelia being around as such, because like when you're trying to talk about emotions and stuff like that when you've got a baby, and you're like then having to try and rush the video because they're getting rested, so you've got to kind of attend to them. So it's sort of one of them videos that you need the time to do it. I thought I would, like I said, I would do my breastfeeding story so far. I do breastfeed Amelia, and like I said, it isn't something that I broadcasted on my channel as such, really. It's something that I don't broadcast. You might see it on my social media if you do follow me on Instagram or Facebook. It is something that I post. I used to post the milestones, like every month that I breastfed Amelia. I used to post that I've done 10 months or so and so. And I haven't done it in a while, but this week I actually posted the 16-month milestone, because obviously I've been breastfeeding Mia for 16 months. And when I post some things, I do it because I'm proud of myself, and I do it because I'm proud of Amelia. Also, I do it, the main fact that I do it is to make people feel like they don't have to just give up. And there is support out there, and there's people that are willing to talk about their stories and their experiences, and to give people more positive attitudes. And I think for breastfeeding you need that positive attitude. You need people that are positive around you and not negative. And breastfeeding and bottle feeding, I think, is a topic that people are always going to have arguments about and disagree on, and so. It's an ongoing subject. But I think that's like being a mum in general, like something that I would do that someone else does differently. We all do things differently, so we're always going to have that disagreement. I think, well, I do it, but I'm not like that. As a mum, I'm not like that. I listen to people's experiences, and what people choose to do, that is completely up to them. I don't have an opinion on it, because I wouldn't want people to have an opinion on what I choose to do with Amelia. So yeah, this topic is a big taboo, and I think that's probably why I haven't done a video or broadcast it on this channel, because it's just a thing that you get so much negative comments about, and I don't want it. I'm not a negative person, and I'm not a confrontational person. Like, I don't want it at all. But I'm doing this video to support people and to make people not feel like they have to give up and they're not alone, because breastfeeding, I think, compared to bottle feeding, you can feel so alone and you can feel so isolated because you're the one that's solely feeding that child. So I think you can go into the zone of isolation because you're the only one that can feed that baby. You're the one that has to do all the night feeds. You're the one that has to get up with them in the morning to make sure that they've had their feeds. Like, you're the one that has to get up all the time and attend to a baby. So you can feel like you're in an isolated bubble. And I suppose, especially if you've got friends who don't breastfeed. You know, I've got a friend who is at the same stage as me. She does still breastfeed her 16-month-old baby, and I met up with her a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking to her about it, and she was like, I still get so much negative comments. And I said, do you know what, ignore it, just let it go over your head, because that's what I do now. I let it go over my head, because I just think there's no point of letting every negative comment get to you, because you know you're doing the best thing. You know you're doing what's right for you and your child, because you wouldn't be doing it otherwise. Do you know what I mean? If you feel like you've come to that point when you need to stop breastfeeding for both of you, then you're going to do that, because that's a decision that will come within you. that you've decided to do, not because someone's put you off from doing it or saying, oh, that baby's not a baby anymore, it's a toddler, you shouldn't be doing it when they're that size or whatever. And this is what I was saying to my friend the other day. I said, it isn't a thing that you should feel isolated about, or negative comments to say, you shouldn't breastfeed in public, because you do get a lot of it. I remember when the baby was really small and me just like being out and having to feed her, and before I ever breastfed her in public, I remember just feeling because when I was in hospital, I just felt like they were like, oh, do you want like a shade cover-up thing? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? Like, it didn't bother me because I think it came so natural. But I thought, before I actually started breastfeeding, I used to think, oh my God, how am I meant to breastfeed her in a restaurant or a pub or a cafe or a coffee place or in a park or whatever? Like, you have that thing in your head, think, oh my God, how can I do that? Because it's worlds of that isolation of what's normal, what's not normal, and breastfeeding to a lot of people is still not normal. It's abnormal. It's the most abnormal thing ever, and it's not. It is the most natural thing. You come to think, why do we produce milk? Why do we have boobs that produce milk? We don't have them to not feed our children, so it is natural, because otherwise we wouldn't have milk, would we? If it was unnatural, we wouldn't have milk. You've got people that are there, page 3 models, that are sit there bollock naked, and I don't see people complaining about that. But you have a child, you have someone that's covering up their child to breastfeed them, but that's wrong. That's completely wrong. Like, I think that's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting how someone can sit there, open up a magazine, see someone, in a bikini or buck naked and think that's acceptable. But when a child is feeding from their mother's, breasts, the most natural thing, they get looks, you shouldn't be doing that, or can they move, or can they go into a toilet? Would you want to go into a toilet to breastfeed your child? No. Would you want to go to the toilet to eat your dinner or eat your breakfast or have a drink? I don't think so, because they're dirty and they're disgusting and they're full of flipping, bugs and bacteria. You think a little baby's going to catch that more than anyone. You wouldn't tell an elderly person to go into a toilet to eat their dinner, would you? So why would you expect a breastfeeding mother to breastfeed their child in a toilet? It's not realistic, is it? And the reason why I'm doing this video is for them comments. It's for them people that need to be a little bit more open-minded. I'm not doing this to be negative or to attack anyone. It's just me saying that, in this world, you have to be a bit more open-minded and be a bit more positive towards people, because we're doing what's best for our children. We want to give them the best start in their lives. That's what we've tried to do. It's working for us and our babies, so why should you make people feel like they should give up because that's something that you don't think is natural, when it is the most natural thing, because it comes out of our boobs. It's meant to, because it wouldn't come out otherwise, I don't want people to feel like they should just give up. I know breastfeeding is mentally tough, it's physically tough, it's isolating sometimes, it's, in the first couple of days, it's painful. Like, I remember my nipple was really, really getting, chapped and sore, and it was uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie. It was really uncomfortable, and in the end, I had to express with the one that was hurting and let her feed off the other one, because it was really, really sore and it was really cracked. And the only thing that I could suggest for people that suffer with really bad nipples, I'm touch wood, I don't, from days old, I haven't had to put anything on my nipples, because my nipples don't get sore anymore. I really don't bite my nipples. She's very good to suck her still. She doesn't bite. She's not harsh. My nipples don't get chapped anymore. My nipples don't get sore. Sometimes my boobs do get quite indulged and they do get really sore. If she hasn't fed all day, then they can get really sore sometimes. Like, say for an example, she only had little feed in the morning, and then I've gone into the evening, they can get really engulfed and sore. And they do. I'm not going to lie. They do get really sore sometimes, but that rarely ever happens, because majority of the time she has really good feed in the morning. So by the time the evening, they're ready for her and they're not sore. But yeah, in them first couple of days, you need to get some of them latching. I'll link it below. It is the most amazing stuff. It is really, really dear though. That's the only thing I would say. It is really dear. But it was the best one I got, because I think I got a Super Drugs own brand, and it just didn't work. It was more like a cream, where the lanking, I don't know what it's called. It's like a oil. I can't even describe it, but definitely I might do actually like a breastfeeding sort of survival kit for you guys, for people who are interested in breastfeeding or who do breastfeed, or, you know, comment below if you'd like to see a video like that. But yeah, it is mentally tough and it is mentally draining. But when Amelia was really, really young, she was really ill when she was first born. So was I, in fact. And that's another story that I will go into at some point. So the only thing I could do for Amelia was feed her, express for her. That was the only thing I could do for her. Otherwise, I felt so hopeless, because helpless. That's not hopeless. I felt helpless. I felt absolutely helpless, because I couldn't change a nappy. I couldn't burp her. She was covered in tubes, so I couldn't really touch her. I was covered in tubes because I had, you know, all sorts of stuff in me. I couldn't barely pick her up because I was really weak. It was the most awful time, and I've never felt so helpless in my life that I couldn't do anything for her. And the only thing that I could do was go back to that ward, express for her in the night, you know, try and get that, you know, skin contact. That's the only thing that I could do for her. And I think to this day, I look back, and when she's unwell, she only wants to be breastfed. You know, she will only be breastfed when she's unwell. If she's teething, sometimes she'll go back to just feeding out of milk. She won't eat anything because it's too hard. It's the only thing that I think keeps her happy. And it, to this day, it's the thing that keeps me going. You know, in the last 16 months, it's probably been the most hardest 16 months of my life. You know, I have gone from being with someone to a single mum. I've gone from being in a flat to being homeless, to living with my dad, to then finding somewhere to live, and then being homeless again, and then being back at my dad's, being in quite, you know, dealing with domestics from my ex-partner when we broke up, being away from my mum, my sister right now, that it's killing me. You know, moving to a whole new place. You know, I don't live in London anymore, which again breaks my heart. You know bits of my story, being because you've seen my video start, but I haven't gone into detail with it because I don't want to broadcast that part of my life. I don't do my channels for people to feel sorry for me. That's why I haven't broadcasted that, even though I've kind of wanted to explain why my channel was the way it was. But it is back on track now, and I am, you know, recording more videos and stuff like that, which I'm so happy to do. But, you know, the last 16 months have been really hard for me, you know. Mentally, it's been so hard, you know. And because me and Mia was so ill at the beginning, it would have been so much easier to probably give up. Because she wasn't latching at first. Like, she did latch for the first time, and then she was really, like, because she was so ill, she was so tired, where breastfeeding is really hard for babies, because it's really, they've got to work for it. They've got to work for that suckle. It's not like a bottle. It doesn't just come out of a flow. You know, they have to suck for it. They have to work for it. So she was so tired that she couldn't actually do it, because she was so tired, because she was so ill. So it was, sometimes I used to just think, should I just give up? But I didn't, because I thought, no, I'm not giving up. This is something that I want to do. It's something that I know Amelia is more than capable of doing it. But it's just because she's unwell, she can't. So I didn't give up. And, you know, people say to me this day, oh my God, I can't believe you're still breastfeeding her at 16 months. You know, how are you still doing it? You know, isn't it draining? And I'm like, it isn't as draining anymore. I think when you get past that 6-month period, it becomes easy. It becomes like your natural thing. And I don't think you would know what to do with yourself if you weren't doing it, sort of thing. It's become like my life, because it has become the most natural thing. Like, I can't imagine sitting there sterilising bottles and getting up in the night, boiling the kettle, getting one of them prep machines, and being like pretty much waking up, like fully waking up to feed my child. You know, to think in them days, I feel like Amelia used to go 3 or 4 hour stretches. So for a breastfed baby, that was pretty good. She used to go pretty much down 3 or 4 hours at a time after being breastfed. So I couldn't really, you know, say that she was a typical breastfed baby. She didn't sleep, because they always say, oh, breastfed babies don't sleep as well. Amelia did. She would go 3 or 4 hours to stretch, sometimes even 6 hours without waking up. The only thing I would say about breastfed babies, especially like from my point of view, Amelia's a very light sleeper compared to what I've seen with a bottle-fed baby. She is very, very light sleeper. So the most lightest little noise wakes Amelia up. But then that might be just her, because I am a very light sleeper. So that might be just us as sleepers, because I'm a really light sleeper. You know, I'd hit a pin drop on the floor, because I am, like, majority of the time I'm a really light sleeper, depending on obviously if I'm really tired or not. But yeah, she used to go 3 or 4 hour stretches. So it wasn't like I feel like when she was a newborn baby, I got so much more rest because she slept for 3 or 4 hours. I love her to hop kids. Breastfed babies are not as, they don't get as full, so they're obviously not as big. Amelia was 6.5 pounds when she was born, and I think she lost about 7% of her weight when she was first born, and obviously they're allowed to lose up to 10%, but she lost up to 7%, I think she lost 7%, but that was because she was ill. That's why she lost that weight as well. But the only time that they were worried and concerned about her weight was just before we left the hospital. We were in hospital for 11 days, and they were going to go and release her on the Monday, and they said we need to weigh her. So they weighed her at 4 o'clock, and they come back to me and they said, we can't release you today because we're not happy with Amelia's weight. You've got to stay in one more night to make sure that feeding's going well, and she's actually feeding and taking enough, and you might have to top her up with formula, which I didn't want to do. Or they said you need to express, so I'd have to express more to top her up, to make sure she was gaining weight. But to be fair, when I was doing that in the hospital, it was almost like she would fall asleep breastfeeding, and then they would expect me to then try and get her to give her more food, which ended up waking her up, so she'd be crying, which I ended up stopping doing when we got home, because there was nothing wrong. Like, she had basically, by the next day, she had gained weight, so they let us go home, and then they said we needed her to get weighed regularly, which I done, and every single time she was on the 9th. She was born on, I think, the 25th. Central or whatever it is, and she's now on, well, she's always sort of stayed on the 9th, but when she was last weighed, she was actually going off the line up to the next line, so she was actually not staying on the line, she was going up, so she's always gone up, she's always gained weight nicely. They've always said, no, she's gaining weight really nicely, you're doing the best thing, your milk's obviously really good. But to be fair, my milk, the day she was born, and she was born at 38 weeks and 4 days, and by that night my milk had come in, and I had loads of it. Like, they said to me, oh my god, like, I can't believe, because they gave me the little syringes to express, like hand expressed, and she said, oh my god, I'm getting loads out, because she was doing it, because obviously I could barely move because I was so unwell, so she was expressing for me. And she said, oh my god, I'm getting loads out, I'm getting loads of colostrum. And she said, that's really, really good, because she said a lot of people's milk, like, don't come in straight away, and your milk's coming in, and it's really getting quite a lot out of it. So my milk supply has always been good. And like, I have got, Amelia's really, really small. And I'm like, Amelia was 6.5 pounds when she was born. She's very long, but very petite. Not skinny, you can't see bones, but she is very, very petite. She always has been, but she's very, very long. So you can imagine, you know, the taller you are, you know, you're not going to be exactly big and fat, are you? You know, you're more long and narrow. Amelia actually takes after me in that respect, because if you were to look at me, you would just see that I'm very long. Like, I have got a belly on me, but if you were to see me in like a top that wasn't a tight fitted top and a pair of leggings, I'm literally like long. Like, you wouldn't even see me, because I'm just really long, where I almost look thin, but I'm not. I'm far from thin, but I'm really, really long. And Amelia's like that as well. If you were to see her in clothes, she's very, very long. And people used to say to me, oh my god, she's like, you sure she's not underweight? And I had that so much, and I was like, do you know what? if she was underweight, they would let me know. Like, she's gaining weight, she's going to the toilet, she's going poo, you know, she's healthy, she's got energy. Like, if she was underweight, she wouldn't have energy, she wouldn't be pooing, she wouldn't be weeing. And I keep on having to express these to the midwife and their health visitors, and I probably think I'm like wacky crazy, because people make you feel like that, and then you start believing it, and people are like, she's fine, she's gaining weight nicely, every single time she's gaining, and she's staying on that line. So as long as your baby is staying on the line, and your health visitors don't have no problems, do not doubt yourself, because as long as you can feel like they're gaining weight, and you can see they're gaining weight, and they're happy in themselves, then there isn't much more you can do. You can't listen to this negative stuff that people want to do, because it's negative about everything. I think even if you bottle feed nowadays, you get negativity and looks upon because you're bottle feeding. So, you know, this is why I wanted to do this video, was just to get my point across of my breastfeeding story so far. There has been ups and downs, don't get me wrong. Amelia had acid reflux when she was, I don't know how old now. She must have been about 13, 14 weeks old, I think. Literally, this is how it used. Amelia was very, very sticky. That was another thing. Amelia was a very, very sticky baby. She's not anymore, but she was a very, very sticky baby. So, and I never got told that she was on acid medicine. When she was little, she was on acid reflux medication. And it was funny because they said it on the paperwork that she was on some sort of acid reflux medication, breastfeeding, something beginning with R anyway. She was on that, and no one told me, because I was so poorly. I didn't know what they were doing. And obviously they weren't talking to me, they were talking to my ex-partner, and obviously he wasn't telling me what they were saying. So she was on acid reflux medication, but they never told me this, and obviously they never said that it would have to go on with her. And Amelia had periods where she would wake up and she would be screaming, and her legs would be like going up to like here, like she would be all stiff, like she didn't relax. It was awful, and we'd have nights of her just screaming and screaming, and everyone kept saying to me, it's colic. And everyone was like, you're a first time mum, you know, it's just colic, you have to give her colic drops, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, it's not working, she's still doing this, she's still throwing up, blah, 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 blah. Not listening, no one would listen to me. So anyway, when we came up here last year, when I didn't have anywhere to live, we were up here. And there was one time Amelia would just not stop throwing up. She was throwing up after every feed, she was just throwing up and crunching her legs up, and like, she would only settle if she was on my chest. So it would be like she was laying sort of upwards. That was the only place that she would settle when she was asleep. If I moved to her, she'd wake up, and I kept on thinking, this is not colic. There's no way this is colic. And it got to the point where she was just not keeping anything down, so I was getting really worried. So we went to like an out-of-hour doctor's surgery. I called them up, and they were like, yeah, come in, bring her in. So they said, oh, it sounds like acid reflux, and they said that she was very tense. So they said that she's got acid reflux, and they looked back to her records for when she was a baby, and they said she was on breastfeeding, whatever it is, some acid reflux medication, and they said that she probably is going to suffer from acid. So once that was sorted out, we knew what it was, but at that point she was feeding, like cluster feeding, and I was up every hour, and I was getting no sleep, because obviously she was throwing up whatever she was eating, so that was exhausting part of breastfeeding. But it's one of the things, you have to do it, and I think it would have been the same, even if she was bottle feeding, it would have been the same, because it would have been me having to make up bottles every hour, which would have been even more exhausting, and then waking up in the morning and having to sterilise with them bottles. So in that respect, I think, you know, there's pros and cons to everything in breastfeeding and bottle feeding. There's pros and cons. It's just what works for you and your baby. I really don't want this video to be too long, but it is going to be one of the videos that it's me talking and telling you my experiences, and I'm only doing this to try and help people, and I'm going to try and do like a breastfeeding tag, and it's just questions of obviously about breastfeeding, and it's just a fun video basically. Like, I think one of the questions is like, what's the most strangest place you breastfed or whatever. So I just thought I would do it just to do a little bit more breastfeeding things on my channel, keep you updated on my breastfeeding stories, give you some tips, because it is something that I'm ready to broadcast onto my channel, and hopefully people will accept it and there won't be no negative comments. If they are, that's life. There isn't much I can do about it, but I've put this out for people that are struggling and that probably feel the way I do but just can't say it, and I've been feeling that way up to now, but now I just let it go over my head because that's life. And I've learned, I think, in life everyone's negative about everything. You know, no one's going to agree because that is life. If we all agreed, we would live in a happy, peaceful land, but that's not life, is it? You know, politics, everything, you know, that's just life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to share to your friends. Don't forget to comment below and let me know any of your breastfeeding stories or about. Feel free to email me if anyone is feeling this way or needs an extra support or any questions. Feel free to email me. I always put how to contact me. Follow me on our Facebook page, which is at Amelia and Me Kiss, and my Instagram is Tara McCarthy Mortimer, but I will link that all below, which I always do. So feel free to just message me if you want any kind of advice, if you're thinking of breastfeeding, or if you are and you're thinking of giving up and you just want a little bit more advice. I'm here, so please contact me. And thank you to all my new subscribers. It means so much. And I'm thinking to actually do a giveaway. If I can reach 50 subscribers, I will do a giveaway. That is a promise. So start clicking, because I've got 31 subscribers. So we need another 19 to make 50. That's not too many, is it? So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, like I said, give it a big thumbs up, because this really does mean. It means a lot to me, and this story has come from my heart, and it's just how I feel, and it's about time that I do broadcast it, because I am proud. I'm proud that I breastfeed Amelia, I'm proud that I have, and I'm proud that I still do it at 16 months, and I will be putting more stuff on my channel, so feel free to ask me anything about breastfeeding, because I am here to help and show this positivity so people don't just give up. Much love, bye.